today for victims of the twin flood and fire disaster. Structures that are obstructing waterways are being demolished in the capital to the disappointment of some traders who say they paid to be there. On a lighter note, it seems virgins are extinct. Stick around for all the details. Enjoy News Interactive with me, Ifwa Akwa Harrison. I'll be right back. Please get interactive with us via social media. Find us on facebook.com/Joy News on TV. We are also on Twitter with the handle @Joy News on TV. Alternatively, you can use @JN_Interactive_GH. You can also hit us up via email. It's joynewsim@multitvworld.com, or send your messages through WhatsApp. The number is 0540109009. Remember, when you're sending us a message via WhatsApp, please send your name and location. The number again is 0540109009. So Ghana is officially mourning the victims of the tragic flood and fire disaster which occurred on June 3rd, 2015. Over 200 people lost their lives. Property worth millions of Ghana cedis have also been lost. So comes the blame game. There have been calls by many for the sanctioning of officials directly responsible for the avoidable disaster, quote, but presiding Bishop of Perez Chapel, Bishop Asare, is asking Ghanaians to stop the blame game and focus on recovery.
Stop the blame game. Your neighbors are not the ones to blame at this time. At this time, this is not the time to be blaming the government. Instead, this is the time for us as a people to stop throwing rubbish into our drains and our gutters. You know, the Vice President, His Excellency Emisata, has been campaigning that once a month on Saturdays for 3 hours we should clean our environment. If we have been following him religiously, I'm sure that a lot of our drains would have been clear and we wouldn't have suffered like we have suffered. It's interesting to note that during this floods, almost all the churches were also flooding. And I'm going to show you some pictures. Let me show you how Jolu, the dome, how this place looked like, the outside of this place. Can you put it on the screen for me? This is how the dome looked like. This is the outside. This is cars and water coming into the dome. Now, let me show you ICGC, Christ Temple, how it looked like. This is how ICGC Christ Temple looked like. My good friend Bishop Anyani Buedum, his church, all the instruments were carried by the water. Apostle General had all his equipment also carried, some were destroyed. Assemblies of God, head office, their printing press, everything was. And then their library and everything. Now, all I'm trying to tell you is that this disaster affected everybody.
And he's not the only one singing that tune. Former President John Agyekum Kufuor, at the launch of a June 3rd relief fund in Accra, says the country needs a collective effort to solve the issue of floods in the nation.
It is now time for our professional institutions, the institution of engineers, the institution of architects, the institution of planners, among others, to stand up and be counted. They must now make their voices heard for the rightful things to be done in this nation of ours. To blame us as individual citizens, but telling you the challenge perhaps is above the individual. It's a challenge of knowledge. We are talking of technologies. Times when nations or cities built on water thrive, even in face of storms. We know it. Our professional institutions know this. So please let them stand and pressurize governments to take the right policies, prioritize, and to do the right things for us.
So you heard former president there about how we as a nation can band together to solve this issue, this disaster. I wonder, are the right people getting the message? I guess it's only human nature to try and justify a tragedy or mistake with fault finding. In this case, poor drains and choked gutters and, of course, buildings on watercourses are the main culprits for the city's perennial flooding, and calls have intensified for the demolition of all structures in waterways. So the Accra Metropolitan Assembly is taking action. So demolition work ongoing at Circle here in Accra. I also interacted with some of the affected traders.
Yentimi wa musul ka anso na totona ma ha ni nyina se ntina mu yi container ne firo.
Na wo papers for container?
Me wa media ni ne Coca-Cola containers we no na me ya me normal si wono.
Na wo krata.
Say government there me wo krata. Me ni krata.
Tuya tax.
Tuya ni nyina.
Tuya like to say how much?
Tuya last year they tuya more than 220 Ghana. And 500 this year.
Penina Beman to me Safesi ha. None is so debesivo. So open a penny se Memphis so need to me so debesivo. And so if you didn't know my best baby, a baby, and ye bian. Then I dream penny or now me for say penny bien wa. Ninsenima. obotumi di esi ho
nti ma de na obeye sesia
sese de na me waka me ni to me
na nyama na ye bubu ne
nyama ma ye bubu de na me ka ma me ni hwe ya me ka
uti mfa
mpacho me wo doko quarters na maton ade wa
na sese wo beton nyama wo hono mana
sese wa meton anye ya matena 20 years matena sese me baba ko e betro wo next week de wanyi na me fama no konfront aduane ndi no konkontro next week baba me last one betro matena no ya wo mo enne na wotwemienu no wo mo papa an wo besukum no watama enne Monday na wotwemienu na mikosie anapa 8:30 no wo mo kum me ba ya meto ane so na me ba to hwe dia me be hia nti me hu dia me kan ni na papa we na me gai man ndi me kai se minister me na ba ba tumanso.
Sad one. The last lady was saying she doesn't have money for litigation, but she also went on to say that they were given no notice and they came and said that because their structures were, I guess, in the waterway, they had to pull them down. The lady before her said she paid 500 Ghana cedis this year to the AMA for her permit to be there, and you heard her lamenting about how there's nothing else for them to do right now. They don't know what they are going to do. The last lady talked about losing her husband 2 weeks ago, and her children are to write their exams. So she doesn't know how she is going to rebuild. Let's take your social media comments now coming through on what we've talked about so far. And WhatsApp is buzzing. Okay, Ekria from Botiano says, I think the demolition of structures should be on hold since we are still in the rainy season. Where will these victims sleep when it starts to rain then? So that's from Ekria, who is watching the show in Botiano. This one is coming from Edem Michael from Nkwanta South. He says, I think it is about time we change our attitude as a country towards our sanitation issues. Also, institutions concerned must be proactive to put things right to save Mother Ghana. And in Ketia, Bernard from Bonso in Nkwanta says, ex-President Kufuor said it all, and that our engineers should start pressuring the government to do the right thing. And tension from Tamale, the Odona gutter should be cleaned anytime it starts raining. So that's tension from Tamale. Stanley Pasa says, the bishop is right by all intents and purposes. My deepest condolences to the bereaved families and to all Ghanaians. The bishop could not have said it any better. We must learn to take responsibility for this monumental failure on our part as a nation. After all, who choked the drains with garbage? Ghanaians or government? And we've also been speaking to you about demolition exercises. Here's what you've been telling us.
Flooding in the capital city seems to be becoming a normal thing for us as Ghanaians, and people are beginning to question what exactly authorities are doing about it. I'm right now standing at Kwame Nkrumah Circle, where last Wednesday's flooding took over the entire place. You couldn't have stood here to do anything at all, and our fellow Ghanaians, our brothers and sisters who actually found themselves here, majority of them got washed away by the floods. The question we are putting out to you is, Authorities believe clearing structures on waterways is the best solution at the moment. But should that really be the case? Just last Sunday, there was a demolition exercise at the Odododio constituency, and the MP intercepted the exercise, saying that the structures they were clearing were not on waterway. Well, we need you to answer this question for us. Should authorities be clearing structures believed to be on waterways, or storm drains should be desilted to make way for the water?
I think one, we have to deseal the drains, because the storm metro, the work which they are supposed to do. In fact, majority of them, they are not doing the work. They have to deseal the drains. When they deseal the drains and the drains are okay, the water will go. Also, those buildings they are on the waterways, I think the government have to see what to do, either to demolish it, so that if water have been passing there, the water will get free flow. Then everything will be okay. That's the main issue. Because
which one do you think should be done first, desilting or demolition?
We have to do the desilting first before then we come to the demolition. Because if you haven't desealed the drains, if the water still raining, the gutter will be choked and the water won't go. But if you deseal the drain first, the water will flow. Then before you see to the building, that will be okay.
I think they should be demolished. Yeah. Because when the flooding is, the rains, the water is passing, and then the buildings are on its way, it would force its way out. So I think they should be demolished.
Demolition, who gave them the permit? First of all, who gave them the permit? Because before you give somebody permit to build on this thing now, you have to come and look where at all is it building? Is it okay? Is it a waterway? But you have not been checking all these things. You just give out the permit. So who at cost?
Now, victims of last Wednesday's flood and fire disaster at Dodona in Accra had something to smile about Sunday afternoon when a team from the multimedia group, together with volunteers, offered relief items to the victims, most of whom have lost their belongings. Let's listen to some victims, benefactors, and Kofi Ansah of Joy FM.
The fire came from this direction. We all tried to get to a safe place as flood waters also took over the entire house. My sister's child was lucky. God protected her as the water carried her away. Some of us had no choice but to seek refuge on top of this weak wall. By God's grace, we managed to hold on till the boat came for us. I'm in so much pain. My back hurts a lot.
I was standing in front of a shop waiting for the rain to cease. The electricity went out after lightning struck. Then we saw water with fire on top coming towards us. We tried swimming but realized we were trapped between flood and fire. I have lost my license and am unable to work at the moment. We thank you for coming to our aid.
Johnny do it if me one say Jano Asalande Street in the call filling station one. Since I'm in Juma, since I'm license to try a case prime medicine and the acquiring for I started Juma. The Adamosepa, the Yankopasi, Semo to my boy.
On behalf of the Ghana Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors and its membership, the BDCs, we are donating a sum of 20,000 Ghana cedis to the Joy Needy Fund to help meet and support those who have been badly affected by the current disaster.
We're going to be here for the entire week, and if we keep receiving donations, yes, probably it will be extended to a month. In addition to that, we're also going to be setting up a counseling unit here. Some of them are traumatized, so we're bringing together some counselors to come and give them counseling, and through that we'll also educate them on how to dispose of rubber, especially because that seems to be the bane of the challenges we're facing here.
and you can also help us support these victims. We'll be right back with a bit more of your social media comments. And you're welcome back to Joy News Interactive with me, Ifwa Akwa Harrison. We've been talking about the flood and fire disaster that happened. It's been 5 days now, and you know, the government is being quite reactive, if I should call it that. They've started demolishing some structures in the city to clear structures that are on waterways. They want to clear up those waterways. We've been asking what you think about this move on social media. Let's go to Facebook now and take a few of your comments there. And we told you what the AMA task force is doing, and we're asking you if the enforcement will last. Ejimensa Ebenezer says, either you do it or nature will respond in its own way. If it is true, then they have a point. Amuzo Oscar Solo says, demolition alone will not solve the problems. Hygiene graduates need to be posted. AMA boss needs advice from law enforcement experts. That is Saman workers. Okay. Meshak Apia says, until some tragedy happens, I guess that's what you mean to say, tragedy happens before the mayor knows his duty to perform. Okay. Samora Kwabuna Owusueje says, what methodology and strategy did the AMA use to identify that those buildings are in waterways? Yadob Dabri says, that reminds me again about this disaster. Oh, okay. Andy Pax Dazi says, I say this again, you can't demolish all the buildings in Accra, or you can demolish all the buildings in Accra, yet still there will be floods next season. The issue is improper planning. Accra is a mess. Accra was actually planned very well, but I guess we just haven't enforced the plan. Patrick Reju says, the reason there is law is because humans will not naturally do what is right. Don't wait for them to build, then demolish. The law serves as both punishment and deterrent. This action is definitely reactive. Osei Daniel says, I say this action is reactive. Why do they pull the poor people's structures and leave the rich? That is discriminatory. Osei from Malam. And Emmanuel Buedu says, I only support the idea of AMA for the betterment of our head country, but not in a harsh way, Mayor. Oh, Mayor. So those are some of your social media comments coming through there on the AMA demolishing some structures in the country. And Steve, you're welcome back.
Thank you.
We just have a few minutes to wrap up, but before we go, time for us to talk about something quite interesting. Reverend Dad-Heward Mills, Lighthouse Chapel, he seems to say that virgins are extinct. What do you think about that?
I don't know.
That's making the rounds on social media as well. A lot of people are talking about it, saying whether they think it's true or not. So yeah, that's also what's been going on the social media front.
But do you think virgins are extinct?
Oh, of course not. Of course not. That's how we wrap up.
So you mean there are many more on the streets of Accra?
Oh, me, I don't really know, but I wouldn't say that virgins are extinct.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we have a couple in our newsroom, you know. Right. My name is Stephen Anti.
My name is Ifwa Akwa Harrison. Thank you for joining us.
Bye-bye.
Bye.